proud Skaal miner and blacksmith, devoted to both his craft, in which there were none better than him, and to his people, to whom he owed his existence, and who in many ways owed their existence to him. He had been fascinated with Stalhrim ore ever since he had first laid eyes on a lump of it as a small child. It was like ice, he had first thought, but infinitely more precious, with iridescent purples and blues, catching the light off its unrefined edges. As soon as he was strong enough to wield a pickaxe, he took it upon himself to delve deep into the caves of Stalhrim to mine the precious metal. As he grew in years, he began to learn how to smith it too, so that by the age of 17, he was the best Stalhrim smith among the Skaal. The Skaal may be looked down on by the haughty Dunmer who inhabited the isle, but this was just ignorance. It was the Skaal, and them alone, who had the expertise to smith that precious ore, and knowing that he was the preeminent smith among them, filled him with pride. Mining for Stalhrim was not without its risks. The darkness of the caves in which he mined hid a multitude of dangers. Draugr, foul servants to the dragons while alive, never took kindly to being woken from their slumber now they were undead. He always traversed the caves with an older warrior of the Skaal with him to guard against such threats, and owed his safety to the quick blade of his fellow. There was one excursion though, where even this was not enough. Usually, while Arbild mined, his fellow would stand with his back to him, a keen eye out for any threats. It was in Glydenhall Barrow where all of this was undone. They had mined 2 deposits and were on to a third, when the gloom was pierced by the guttural calls of a Draugr. There were 3, a tough proposition for even an experienced warrior. The older Skaal warrior killed one Draugr, piercing it through the chest with his sword, but then his foot caught on a jagged rock and he fell, and Arbild could do nothing but watch as the 2 remaining Draugr ended his life. Arbild had never really fought before, but his teen years spent mining and working the forge had made him immensely strong, and he was angry. He lashed out at the first Draugr with his pickaxe, burying it in the side of his adversary's skull. Bracing his boot against the Draugr, he ripped the pickaxe towards him, taking the Draugr's jawbone with it. He sustained a deep cut to his side from the second Draugr, but by sheer dumb luck, he was able to intercept the Draugr's blade with his pickaxe, hooking the sword away from it, before downing the foul creature in a flurry of hacks. As he was carrying his fallen friend from the cave, he kept replaying the fight over and over in his mind. If he had acted quickly, if he had been better at fighting, his friend would still be alive. He pondered how well balanced and deadly the pickaxe felt in his hand. He had not wielded a weapon before, but he had spent years swinging a pickaxe. Thus, whenever he delved into caves to mine Stalhrim in the future, he always ruthlessly cleared them of Draugr with his pickaxe before he used it for the purpose for which it was initially intended. So the stat spread for this build is 50% health and 50% stamina, with your main skills being one-handed and heavy armor, and your secondary skills being alchemy, enchanting, and smithing. For weapons, you'll be dual-wielding pickaxes. Because the pickaxes in the base game look awful, I've used the Pickaxe Redone mod, which improves the look of the pickaxe. Now, I haven't chosen to boost the damage of my pickaxes with the restoration loop, though you can choose to do this if you wish. Instead, I enchant every item I could with Fortify one-handed, those being my gauntlets, boots, ring, and a necklace. In addition, I imbued my pickaxes with poison damage, and while this doesn't make the pickaxe deadly on their own, the combination of this plus plentiful power attacks with the dual flurry and dual savagery perks in the one-handed tree will render your pickaxe a viable offensive option. The best poison ingredient is Jarren Root, but you can only come across that once near the end of the Dark Brotherhood questline. Crimson Nern Root is weaker, but slightly more plentiful. The only in-game location for that is Blackreach, which we will have to go anyway for the Elder Knowledge quest, and I guess you can keep going back there sporadically to collect more, to make a really powerful poison potion. In any case, any poison that causes damage or paralysis is going to be a fairly safe bet. And as for the rest of your gear, you'll be using Stalhrim heavy armor. The best way to play with this build is to pair your pickaxes with the slow time shout and use the shout just before you start power attacking an enemy. Against stronger enemies, try to evade until your shout meter cools down, and also use this time to regain enough stamina for another round of attacks. For those who still play Standard Edition Skyrim, there's a mod that boosts the base damage of pickaxes but as far as I'm aware, this mod is not on special edition, so I've done my best to create a decent pickaxe build with the standard pickaxes. While I concede that any other weapon would render the build more deadly, this build is still capable of holding their own against most hostile NPCs, as long as you manage your stamina pool effectively. Anyway, that's it for this build. Thank you very much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already to see more content like this, and I'll catch you soon with another video.